So for this, before going into this concept, let us see what is plastic moment of a section. If you observe the strength of material, the concept is bending theory or pure bending theory. So in that concept, we have derived one formula, that is just now we have revised, that is m by I is equal to, say, F by Y is equal to D by R. That is the formula we have derived and discussed in strength of materials in a concept named as theory of bending. So in that concept, we have dealt with one term that is known as M. M by I is equal to F by Y is equal to E by R. So in this M, what is meant by M? Everyone? So what is meant by M? So M is a moment of resistance. M is moment of resistance. It is not bending moment. Okay, so don't get confused here. M is moment of resistance. Then what is meant by bending moment? So then bending moment is a moment developed in a beam because of externally applied load. So from this we can say that the M used in this formula is the moment of resistance, which is the material property or internal phenomena. Moment of resistance is the internal phenomena. See, if you observe in this formula M, so just forget about M. If you take I, what is I? I is the moment of inertia, which depends upon purely on the shape of cross section. So moment of inertia depends purely on shape of the cross section. F is stress, which is nothing but internal resistance. Clear? That is also a material property. Depends upon material. So it changes from material to material. Like the moment of inertia changes from cross section to cross section. Not shape of the cross section, it changes. And Y is the distance from the neutral axis, and E is the modulus of velocity or Young's modulus, R radius of curvature. So if you observe all the terms in this formula, so in all the terms in this formula, if you observe, so all these terms are related to the material properties and its dimensions. So from this we can say M in this formula is the moment of resistance. So it is internal property or internal phenomena. But bending moment, so as I said, what is bending moment? Bending moment is a external phenomena or external property. So once you recollect or once you remember how we have calculated the bending moment, what is the procedure we have followed for calculation of bending moment? So let us take a small example. So consider a simply supported beam with center point load. Simple example. So now first, what is the procedure we adopt? First we calculate the reactions as it is at center L by 2 L by 2. So the reaction is W by 2 and W by 2. After that we consider one cross section, one section here which is at a distance of X from it. Which is a distance. Now what is the bending moment at this section X? Bending moment at the section X, which is this force which is causing sagging. So W by 2 plus W by 2 into X. So this is the procedure we have followed for the calculation of bending moment. So if you observe, for the calculation of bending moment we are using external load. But for calculation of moment of resistance we are using the internal properties of a material. So from this we can say M used in this formula and the calculation of bending moment are not same. Okay, the bending moment and M is not same. But in our analysis or in our design, we equate the bending moment to this moment of resistance. Then only we obtain safe design, yes or no? So because of the external applied load in the beam, it develops bending moment. Now, how much bending moment will develop in that will depend upon how much bending moment we can allow to develop in that particular beam. That depend upon the strength of that beam. So mainly depend upon this M. So in design we are going to take, or in safe design, obviously design means safe design. So in design we are going to take that bending moment should be less than or equal to M. So now from this M is nothing but moment of resistance. Okay, M is nothing but moment of resistance, not bending moment. So don't get confused between the bending moment and moment of resistance. But usually whenever we are solving the problems in strength of materials, we equate this M to bending moment. But in real, that bending for a safe design, that bending moment should be less than or equal to M. Clear? So this much of external load or external moment is developing. So that external moment should equal to or less than the moment of resistance of that section. So that is a concept between the moment of resistance and bending moment. Now come to this plastic moment, MP. So here plastic moment is nothing but moment of resistance of a cross section at plastic state. That is the meaning of it. So plastic moment is nothing but the moment of resistance of a cross section or any section at plastic state or in plastic zone. So when the material is in plastic zone, then the moment of resistance or moment carrying capacity of that cross section is known as plastic moment. Now let us see how to find the plastic moment. Is it clear now what is plastic moment, everyone? Let us take a beam. So this is a simply supported beam. There center point with a point load P1. Now if you observe the cross section, so here where the neutral axis lies. So this is neutral axis. Neutral axis. Agree? So now because of this load P1, how the deflected shape? As I showed previously, so I am not going to show on this diagram. I am going to show the separately for cross section. So if you observe the strain variation, so this is how strain varies. Agree? So strain variation is linear. Epsilon. Now how stress varies? As the load applied is less, so now stress also varies linearly. So stress here is F and here also F. So this is the stress variation. Now, if we increase the load furtherly, now we have increased the load up to P2. So now because of this loading, the stress induced in it also increase. Agree? And strain will also increase. If you remember the first assumption, what is the first assumption? Strain before bending, plane section before bending remains plane after bending. That is the first assumption we have discussed in the plastic analysis of the beam. So according to that assumption, strain should vary linearly. So whatever the load may be, but the strain should remain linear. So now because of the loading P2, the strain will increase like this. It remains linear, but it will increase. Now if you see the stress will also increase, no doubt. So stress will also increase. Now stress has increased to such a value that at extreme fibers it has reached to Fy. Agree? At extreme fibers it has reached to the Fy. It means yield stress. That much of load we have applied. So Fy. So now if you observe here, F is less than Fy. So in the first case, because of the applied load P1, due to applied load P1, this is due to P1 plus P2. Agree? So because of the load P1, the stress that developed in the cross section is less than Fy. And if you observe one more thing, at the extreme fibers, the stress has reached to its maximum value and it is decreasing linearly towards the neutral axis, and at the neutral axis the stress and strain both are zero. That is how the bending stress vary. Agree? So coming to the load P1 and P2, the stress at extreme fiber, we know that the stress at extreme fiber is more in comparison to the stress at other fibers of the cross section. So now at the extreme fiber, the stress developed is Fy, yield stress. Now this is known as yield state. It means here the stress has increased. Means stress at the extreme fibers increased up to yield stress. That is why it is known as yield stress. And here the stress at extreme fibers is less than yield state. So that is why they are called, this state is called as working state or elastic state. Okay, this state is known as the stress at extreme fibers is lesser than yield state. So this state is known as working state or elastic state. Here, if you observe, because of the load P1 and P2, stress at extreme fibers is yield stress. So that is why it is known as yield state. Now, if we increase furtherly, now here load is P3. It means, now I am continuing the diagram here, that stress diagram. So if we increase the load furtherly, then what happened? At extreme fibers, it has reached to the maximum stress, that is yield stress F5. But still there exists some load. Now, that load has to be taken by this member. Now what happened? Redistribution of stresses takes place. How? Like this. Redistribution of stresses takes place. Like this redistribution, and again it is linear. Now if you observe, from the top to some distance or some thickness or some depth from the top to internal fibers, the stress is constant. So it means the plastic state has started. So this condition or this state is known as semi-plastic state. Semi-plastic state. So this stress condition in the cross section of beam is due to P1 plus P2 plus P3. So because of this loading P1 plus P2 plus P3, this is a stress distribution. Now on this beam we have increased the load up to P4. Now if you observe from here to here, the fibers are stressed up to the maximum, their full limit. Now this is only the limit we are having. Now remaining fibers will also stress uniformly because of this load. So it means due to P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus P4. So because of this, the stress variation is like this. So here it is Fy and here it is Fy. So this is known as plastic state. Now from this what we can say? Plastic state is a state at which the fibers in the cross section, fibers in the cross section are uniformly stressed, or stress in each fiber of the cross section is equal. If you observe, see here there is one fiber, as I said previously. So this is a cross section. Okay, this is a cross section. So several cross sections which are placed close together form the span. So this is one cross section, similar cross section, it forms the span. Similarly, if you consider the cross section also, for this cross section here there exists one fiber, and immediately next to that fiber there exists one more fiber. Similarly, n number of fibers placed close together, it forms the cross section depth by. Agree or not? So the each fiber of negligible thickness placed very close to each other forms the depth of the cross section. So that is what the fiber of the cross section. So it means at an extreme fiber the stress is Fy. Immediately, see in this diagram there exists some spacing, but in real there exists no spacing. Okay, so immediately the next fiber also stressed up to Fy, again Fy, again Fy. It means now what is meant by plastic state? Plastic state is a state at which stress distribution is uniform or constant throughout the depth of the cross section. That is known as plastic state. So how many stages now? If you observe, and one more thing, if you observe, in all these states, what are the states that we have discussed? Working state or elastic state, yield state, semi-plastic state, and plastic state. So in all these states, so this is the first, the small one, strain variation, which is linear. The second, red color, so that is a stress variation in yield state. So as because of the increase of load, the strain also increases. So that is the strain variation. Upon increasing the load furtherly, this strain will increase. So you simply have to observe in all these states, that is whether elastic state or yield state or semi-plastic state or plastic state, In all these states, 4 states, the strain is linear. In all these 4 states, the strain is linear toward the depth of the cross section. The value may change. Okay, so here this is the value for maximum value for elastic state, and this is the maximum value for yield state, and this is the maximum value for semi-plastic state, and for plastic state it has some other value. So this is the value. So magnitudes may change or values may change, but the strain variation is linear. So that is what the first assumption. So as I said, first assumption, the plane section before bending remains plane after bending. So this much of meaning is there for the first assumption. So what is that first assumption? Plane section before remains plane after bending. It means strain is linear. But coming to the stress here, first state. So first state because of the load only P1, because of the load P1. Because of the load P1, the stress is also linear. See, here strain is linear and stress is linear. So both are proportion. It means Hooke's law is valid. Clear? Here Hooke's law is valid. So that is why this method is also, this state is also known as elastic state or working state. Strictly speaking, Hooke's law is valid up to only proportional point. But in real or in our design, we assume that Hooke's law is valid up to elastic point. So it means we are going to take a fair assumption. What is that assumption? As if you observe in the previous graph, A and B, for stress strain curve of mild steel, the original graph what we have discussed, A and B are very close together. So based on that, we are going to assume that Hooke's law is valid up to elastic point. But in real, or strictly speaking, Hooke's law is valid up to proportional point. Agree? So as Hooke's law is valid, that is why it is known as working state or elastic state. And stress at extreme fiber or maximum stress should be less than yield stress. The next, upon increase in the load, what happens? The extreme fiber switch to the yield state, and the stress decreases if you proceed towards the neutral axis, that is yield state. And third state, so we have increased the load furtherly such that extreme fibers are stressed to its maximum limit. Now what is the situation? That is known as, I said, that is known as redistribution of stress takes place. It means as extreme fibers are stressed to maximum in this case, now they will not take any load furtherly, but load is on the beam. Now who will take that load? So now that load is distributed, transferred to the inner fibers which are stressed less in comparison with extreme fibers. This is how the load transfer is going to take place. Agree? Now we have increased the load even. So this is what the behavior of this beam because of this external upper loading. As we discussed in detail, because of the load P1, the material is in elastic state. Because of the load P1 plus P2, the material is in yield state. And because of the load P1 plus P2 plus P3, the material is in semi-plastic state. And then P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus P4, the material is in plastic state. In all these 3 states, the strain is linear. So that is what I said previously. It means the first assumption, strain varies linearly throughout the cross section. Now let us see in all these 4 states how to calculate its moment carrying capacity. So if we observe the first state, so the first state is elastic state. Or working state. So the moment carrying capacity or internal moment of resistance or internal moment in this state is known as safe moment or working moment. Safe or working moment. So we represent it with M. And if you observe in that elastic state, Hooke's law is valid. The reason strain is linear and stress is linear. So now we can use this formula. M by I is equal to F by Y. From this we can write the safe moment or working moment. M is equal to F into Z. We know that Z is I by Y, moment of inertia divided by Y, distance from the neutral axis. So this is how to calculate. This is how to calculate the moment of resistance in working state, which is known as safe moment. And the second state. So what is the second state? Yield state. And we know that the moment corresponding to this state is known as yield moment. Yield moment. Now how to calculate this yield moment? So we know that yield state is nothing but the extreme fibers are at yield state and remaining fibers are stressed lesser than that yield state. So it means in that state also the stress and strain both are linear. It means Hooke's law is valid. So as long as Hooke's law is valid, we can use this formula. So in this yield moment, we represent with m suffix y. Yield moment my. Okay, yield moment my. We can use the same formula, but here Fy into Z. Okay, as we discussed previously, in working state or in safe moment or in elastic state, the stress is F, which is less than Fy. But in yield state, the stress is Fy. So yield moment My is equal to Fy into Z. And in both the cases, if we observe the stress distribution, in this case, this is the stress distribution. So in an elastic state, this is a stress distribution. Here it is F, which is less than Fy. Here also which is less than Fy. And in this state, if you observe stress variation, which is more than that. So these are the stress variations in these stages. One is elastic state and another is yield state. And these are the moment carrying capacity in each state. So this is the moment carrying capacity, which is known as safe moment or working moment in elastic state. And this is the moment carrying capacity or moment of resistance in yield state, which is My. Now let us see for plastic state. Plastic state. So in plastic state, if we observe how the stress variation is constant or uniform throughout the depth of the cross section. So this is how the stress varies. So here if we observe the stress variation is not linear, it means as it is not linear, Hooke's law is not valid. So as long as Hooke's law is not valid, then we cannot observe, then we cannot apply that formula M by I is equal to F by Y is equal to E by R. So we can apply that formula as we discussed previously. As long as Hooke's law is valid, then only we can apply that formula. So when the Hooke's law is valid, if stress is proportional to strain, it means both should be linearly vary throughout the depth of the cross section, that is stress and strain. Then only we can use that formula. Hooke's law is valid. But here, as it is not linear, it is constant or uniform. So Hooke's law is not valid. So as Hooke's law is not valid, we cannot use that formula. So then how to calculate the plastic moment carrying capacity of that section? So for that we use, so this is above the neutral axis. We know that beams in sagging case, above neutral axis is compression and below neutral axis is tension. So in the example also we have shown beam with sagging case. So that is the bending shape is known as sagging and bending moment is known as sagging bending moment. So above neutral axis compression. So this is known as compression force. And this is known as tension force. For equilibrium, this C should equal to T. Agree or not? So how to get that force? Compression, C is a compressive force, T is the tension force. So how to get the force? Force is nothing but stress into area. Agree or not? So this is stress Fy into area A1. And here also stress is Fy, we know that, area, this is A2. Fy into A2. So C is equal to Fy into A1 and T is equal to Fy into A2. Now if you observe the cross section, so let us draw the cross section here. So this is the cross section and this is A1. The area above this axis, we can call it as neutral axis A1 and this is A2. The area below neutral axis is known as A2 and area above neutral axis is known as A1. So here it is B and here it is D. Agree. Now before calculating or before deriving the formula for MP, that is plastic moment of a section, let us see the relation between A1 and A2. Agree. And so let us first see that. From this we can say that C equal to T, then only the cross section is in equilibrium. Or else what will happen? The cross section will move. Agree. So as the cross section is in equilibrium, then C is equal to T. So from equilibrium, So from equilibrium, C is equal to T implies Fy into A1 is equal to Fy into A2. So from this we know that Fy will get cancelled. So finally we came to know that A1 is equal to A2. As it is a rectangle, so for rectangle A1 is equal to A2, what does it mean? It is nothing but A by 2, which is nothing but B by 2, BD by 2. So from this we can say that the neutral axis in plastic state is equal area axis. Very, very important. The neutral axis in plastic state is known as equal area axis. The reason, the plastic neutral axis dividing the cross section into two equal parts. The reason, see, that is a proof. Proof is here. Why? Because A1 is equal to A2. So from this we can write that neutral axis in plastic state is called as equal area axis. Okay, neutral axis in plastic state is known as equal area axis. So very, very important. The reason, that axis is dividing the area into two parts. Now, I guess in strength of materials also you have discussed about one more neutral axis. What is that neutral axis and what are its properties? So the neutral axis, what you have discussed in strength of materials, is known as neutral axis at elastic state. So once again I am telling that the concepts what you have discussed are the state what you have analyzed in strength of materials and structure analysis is elastic state. Now as I said, this is advanced state. So as I said, steel structures is extension to the strength of materials and structure analysis. So the concepts what you have discussed is applicable. The concepts what you have discussed in strength of materials and structure analysis is applicable only for elastic state. Now this is plastic state. So in elastic state, the neutral axis what you have discussed is known as elastic neutral axis, and the property of that neutral axis is it passes through the centroid of a cross section. The property of elastic neutral axis is it passes through the CG, centroid of a cross section. Now what is the property of plastic neutral axis? It divides the area into two equal parts. This is a proof. So A1 is equal to A2. So obviously A by 2. Agree or not? So that is what the plastic neutral axis means. Now let us find the formula for this plastic moment MP. So from derivation we came to know that A1 is equal to A2. So which is equal to A by 2, which is equal to, for rectangular cross section, it is BD by 2. Now this is force and this is force. So as we know that this force exactly equals to this force, but the line of action of these two forces is not same, then obviously it will develop a couple. Agree or not? So what is the formula for couple? Either, so couple is equal to one of the force, either one of the force into distance between them. So let us take the distance between them is this. So this is the distance from this neutral axis y1 and this is the distance from this neutral axis y2. So now plastic moment. Plastic moment MP is equal to C into lever arm or T into lever arm. We represent with LA, lever arm, LA. So finally C into lever arm. Lever arm is how much? Y1 plus Y2. Now either C and T, one and the same. So now MP is equal to Fy, so A by 2 into Y1 plus Y2. So that's the plastic moment carrying capacity of a section formula. So we can modify it as MP is equal to Fy into ZP. This is plastic moment or moment of resistance of a cross section at plastic state. Moment of resistance of a cross section at plastic state. So now what is ZP? ZP is A by 2 into y1 plus y2. So this is ZP. Now what is ZP? ZP is a polar plastic section modulus. Sorry, not polar. Plastic section modulus. Previously also we have discussed one Z. What is that Z? Section modulus, simply Z is equal to I by Y. So this is known as elastic section modulus. Elastic section modulus. So this about this elastic section modulus you have discussed in strength of materials. That is what I said. The concepts what you have discussed in strength of materials and structural analysis is valid only for elastic state. So the Z what you have discussed, this Z I guess this Z you have discussed in strength of materials. So obviously it is for elastic state. But this ZP is plastic section modulus, which is A by 2 into Y1 plus Y2. So this is known as plastic section modulus. Plastic section modulus. So from now onward there is a differentiation between these states. So previously there is no such differentiation. The reason they exist only one state, that is elastic state. But here this is advanced subject or advanced analysis. So now we have to differentiate it. So each and every parameter from now onwards what we are going to discuss, parameter and concepts, we have to be very careful and we have to differentiate it clearly. See here, this is the differentiation. In strength of materials you have studied only about Z. That is why we have used simply section modulus. But here we are studying about two section modulus. One is Z, that is I by Y, and another is ZP, which is A by 2 into Y1 plus Y2. So we have to name them or we have to differentiate it, or else there exists a confusion. So for that we are calling this as a elastic section modulus, what we have discussed in strength of materials, and here as a plastic section modulus, what we have derived here, or what we are going to use in plastic analysis. So this is how to calculate the plastic moment of a section. So once I am repeating, plastic moment of a section is nothing but maximum moment of resistance of any cross section, or moment of resistance of any cross section at plastic state. Okay, so this is what the plastic moment is nothing but. For that we cannot use that formula M by A is equal to F by Y is equal to A by R. For that this is a procedure. So we have to follow this procedure and we have to calculate the plastic moment capacity. So as once I am repeating, plastic moment capacity of a section is nothing but maximum moment carrying capacity or maximum moment of resistance of a cross section is known as plastic moment, or simply moment of resistance of a cross section at plastic state. Now what is meant by plastic state? The state at which all the fibers throughout the depth of the cross section are stressed uniformly, or stress variation is constant. Then such state in a cross section because of external loading is known as plastic state. This is what plastic state, and this is what this is how to calculate plastic moment carrying capacity of a section.